And now we present to you America's quintessential iconoclastic anomaly. Wow. In talk radio, your host, Joe Cristiano.
Welcome yet to another edition of Liberty Talk Radio. I'm your host, Joe Cristiano, and welcome to the University of Logic, better known as Cristiano's Conservatory, correcting convoluted conversations. Folks, good evening. It is cold out there. But we're all here. In fact, we have a crowd here today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8. Geez, we have 8 people in the peanut gallery today. This is terrific.
Peanut gallery, yeah.
No, thanks for joining us this evening on this cold, blistery, cold day. Folks, I want to clarify something. A talk show host, to remain nameless because I don't want to name anybody. I have a tremendous amount of respect for this person. I didn't want to think that I was contradicting him, but tremendous amount of respect, very talented, very knowledgeable. He made a point, and I wanted to make sure that I made my point so we don't get confused, or we don't misalign one another or mislabel one another. He made a point of saying, well, he's not a journalist. He doesn't report the news. He's an entertainer. Well, quite frankly, I want to disagree with this talk show host because he's more than entertainer. He really provides a tremendous amount of information, and I think he provokes thought. Now, I want to make certain that everyone understands I am not an entertainer. If I wanted to become an entertainer, I would go into stand-up comedy. All right? Now, hopefully you find the program entertaining. But this is a forum in which we provoke thought. I am not a journalist. I am not a news commentator. But I want to provoke thought. I'm on a mission. You know that. This program is all about that. And folks, it's time for us now to take control of our government, don't you? Yes, before this bureaucratic, oversized, and self-serving federal government starves us of our property, our freedom, our rights, and our liberty. To do this, we must shed conventional thinking regarding our political structure. We need to be revolutionaries in thought, dissidents in action. I want to repeat that. We need to be revolutionaries in thought, dissidents in action. Only after we recognize what our government is doing to our freedom and our Constitution will we start taking it back. And this program is just about that. Hopefully, you'll find it entertaining, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is to provoke thought. My wife says I'm a thought provoker. That was the nicest thing she said. That's the nicest thing she said about me.
I think you're a provocateur, Joe. You're a provocateur.
I'm a provocateur. Yeah. I don't know how to spell that, so I will not use that word. I want to recount something. I saw a documentary on the Depression. This has to do directly, by the way, with our Christmas season, with the way we spend our money, the way we see, the way we think of ourselves, and what we feel that we need. In this one segment, a woman in very plain, extremely plain clothing, sort of what we would call an old lady's house dress, is with her daughter. And they go into a general store, and this general store is, I'm being nice when I say general store, it's a wooden shed, big wooden shed where they sold general goods. This is back in the 1930s. And the woman, the camera zooms into her purse as she opens it up, her little change purse. And all the money she had that she owned was in that change purse. Now, I don't recall how much was in it, but it couldn't have been more than, let me guess, 35 cents or something like that. And the woman walked around very, very, very carefully selecting, being very discreet as to what she can purchase, all of which were absolute necessities. Her daughter, and I guess the gal was, her daughter was somewhere in about 7 years old. She looked at a piece of candy, And she wanted that piece of candy so badly. But she wouldn't ask for it. Because she understood that every penny counted. That if she had the candy, they may not be buying some food for that evening. Or maybe for that week, who knows. And she looked at the candy and looked at her mother, but you can tell in her eyes she wanted that candy so badly. And her mother looked at her and looked away. It was a you had to watch this thing. It took some time, but it really told a story. And then the woman looked in the purse and she counted all of her change. She looked at the list of things that she needed to buy and deliberated for about 30 seconds. And at the very last minute, decided to buy that piece of candy for 1 penny. The daughter was absolutely delighted. She was beside herself. She took that candy and sat down and looked at it, unwrapped it, and savored it. And you knew this was the highlight of her year. Someone bought her a penny candy. The mom looked down and knew that she could not afford the penny candy, but did it anyway. And she was distraught. But she felt that she needed to do something. She wanted to do it. And she didn't know how she was going to make that up. Now, the movie goes on. It talks about the Dust Bowl and whatever. I want to compare that to today. Now, this family, as you know, if you've watched the whole serial, the documentary, realized that they had absolutely no money whatsoever. Their net worth was probably close to zero. Where they lived wasn't worth anything because of the Dust Bowl. And maybe if you wanted to count some of the food they had on their shelves and some of the farm implements that were very old and very used, you can come up with some sort of balance sheet that showed that their net worth was a few dollars. Now you say, well, these people were poor, very poor. I would like to compare that family with the family today who has absolutely everything. I want to compare that family with the family that wakes up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go Christmas shopping and stands out in the cold on Black Friday. When the doors open, they charge through, buying everything and anything that they can see or they want. Of course, they don't have any cash on them. They use a credit card. And what do they buy? Junk. Junk they don't need. And junk they probably already have. But if it's on sale, why not do that? Now, if you compare, folks, the net worth of that poor farming family to the net worth of the people who are shopping today, who would have a higher net worth? I want you to think about that for a second. Now, the farm family had no debts. They didn't owe anything. Neither did they own anything, other than maybe their house or their farm that had no value. But those people who ransacked a store for Christmas junk, plastic crap, and bought tons of it, put it on a credit card. You see, I contend, folks, that the person who's doing that looks like they have everything, and then they go out and they pack it in their SUV, which also is on time, and they owe probably another 6 years on. If you took a balance sheet of that person, the average person that does that, you would find that this person doesn't have a net worth maybe of a few dollars, but probably has a negative net worth of possibly $10, $20, $30, maybe $50,000 or $60,000. Oh, they may own a house of $450,000 or $350,000, but that's how much they owe on it. And they're probably underwater. So think for a second. Think, which family has the higher net worth? The family that lived in the Dust Bowl that took it took a minute or two to make a decision of whether or not to spend one penny, or the family that goes through a store and spends thousands of dollars on junk on a credit card. Financially, which one is better off? Now, let's put aside the fact that the family of the 1930s had skills with which to use to survive. The family who charges into the store and charges everything in sight that they want. Flat screen TVs, all this crap for kids. And then, when the kids get these marvelous flat screen toys, what do they call them, these things that kids get these days?
Video
Someone help
games.
me out.
Video games? You talking
Video
about?
games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How
PS3,
many of them appreciate?
PS4, yeah.
How many of them could you walk into the kids' room and you'll see piles of toys of which they never use? Think about that. And the family today may have a negative net worth of $10,000, $20,000, $100,000, $200,000. One looks like that they're filthy rich, and the one looks like they're filthy poor. Which one is richer? Which one is more capable of survival? I want you to think about that. Don't look back at the Depression and say those poor people. No, 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 no. Don't you dare do that. You should look at today and look at everyone who's in debt and say to yourself, my God, how did we ever get here? How did we ever get from being in a depression, working our way out of a depression, counting every penny, and that penny was worth something? It was made out of copper, now they're made out of zinc. How did we go from that to where we are today? The appearance of being wealthy. Folks, we are far from broke. We are monetarily broke. But more so, we're psychologically broke. And how else are we broke? How else? I got people in the studio. How else are we broke? Morally broke.
Health-wise.
Yeah, health-wise broke. That's right. These people were strong. And now we're just overweight. Do we have to take a break now? Let's take a break. I need a cup of coffee. You know, I just told a story. That's not a story. That actually was a documentary, and I'm sure this happened a million times during the Depression, where this woman went to a store, a general store, and had about 38 cents on her, maybe a total. That was probably a total cash net worth, and decided after the forlorn look that her poor daughter gave her, she decided to spend the penny on a penny piece of candy, and the gal was ecstatic. And I'll bet, folks, I want to make a bet that happened several times, 100 times, 1,000 times during the Depression, and I'll bet those young girls, those that are still living today, tell that story. And I bet you they tell that story to their grandchildren, and their grandchildren have no idea what they're talking about. Now, I got grandkids. You know, you buy them gifts, and I hate doing it. I just hate doing it because you know that they already have everything. You go to the store and say, what don't they have? And you can't figure it out. And it seems no matter what you buy, no matter how the most recent edition of some video game or gizmo that they come out with, it seems that they have one like it, or you may duplicate. You can't win. And when they get it, they get, oh, how nice. They drop it, and it's the end of that. What are we doing to our civilization? That whole thing just bothers the heck out of me. We have no appreciation for that. None. And the parents are worse. The parents have no clue. No clue what they're doing. They're enablers. Kids are spoiled. And what happens when it hits the fan? When all of a sudden, it's all over. The ball game is over. How are the parents and the children going to cope?
No reality is what the people today that are doing what you were talking about. They're just going out at 11 o'clock, spending the night, buying all that stuff. They're not living in reality. They're living in some made-up world. The people that you talked about that had the 37 cents, they had a reality. They were going to spend a penny, and they knew that took away from something else. They lived a reality. These folks are mentally ill today. We are mentally ill with this disease of consumerism, and it works well for the globalists and the people who are selling everything. They want us to think like that. They program us to think that way. That the people in the Depression, something they had you couldn't take away from them, they had a sound mind.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
And they had great imaginations, too.
They did.
They had great imaginations.
And they made something out of nothing. They had skills. You said they had skills. They could take a seed. If they found, after the Dust Bowl was over, they could put a seed in the ground. They could grow it. And they could create a crop. And then they could create an income.
And a sense of family. I mean, there was a sense of family back in the Depression. I mean, they were a close family unit. Exactly. Now, we send our kids to school. School's just a babysitter.
And then they have careers. They go out of town, and then they're away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, schools are not babysitters, Mr. President. It's not.
Oh.
They're indoctrination camps.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
All right, let's get that straight.
Another word for it. Okay.
Indoctrination warehouse.
Now, but what's strange is that now I'm not gonna plead, poverty here. I have money. I have to admit that I have money. I've always saved my money. I've been through some very bad times. Gary, my industrial health testing business, that went under 3 times. I mean, through nothing, right? But we always came back. We worked day and night. But even though today I have money, I have a low net worth 7-figure net. I have a net worth of 7 figures. Low net worth. I still count my pennies. I swear, my wife says she's counting pennies.
And you're going to be buried with it too. You
right?
keep
every
telling
damn
your sons,
cent, Preston.
All your sons.
I'm going to have it.
Something, Preston.
No, I'll tell you this. Let everyone be on notice. I'm going to have an electrified coffin. All the gold and silver and money is going in there. No checks, please. And if you sort of like you want to take a sample, your hand will come off. It's going to be like 100,000 volts. I want you to know, all of yous. I don't trust any one of you clowns.
Clown college.
Yeah, clown college, But seriously, folks, you see what I mean? Now, there's a side issue to this, and that side issue is that, we talk about revolution, with the government getting out of hand. It's within our power to do so much of this. No, you don't have to take to the streets. You don't have to turn over cars and Molotov cocktails. You know what you have to do? Here it is. Write this down. Get a pencil and paper right now. Write this down.
Come on, class.
All right, here. Everyone, write this down. Put it on your refrigerator with a little magnet with my picture on it, of course.
Of course.
All right? Stop buying crap.
There you go.
I tell you, the government would go nuts. They would put a tax on not buying crap. Really? Just think of all that crap coming in from China. It would load up at the LAX, the dock, right?
Yeah.
No one's buying it. They say, don't you want the latest doll that, cries and pees at the same time, or whatever they have, electronic dolls. I don't know what they do. I mean, I know they don't make dolls anymore, but, whatever that does, we'll say, no, thank you. Just think of the hundreds of billions that would be stuck at the dock and say, fine, not my problem.
It can start at the grocery store. Don't buy that packaged crap.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, there's another
GMO modified food.
Modified spray.
Don't buy it. Stop buying. Stop being such a whoosh. Woof.
Be an intelligent consumer of the food you have to have.
Right.
I mean, just that scares the crap out of them. Because they've invested so much of taking the land across the nation and turning it into big corporate farms, and it's ruining our food supply. It's ruining it.
Hey, it's ruining our intestines. It's ruining everything. I'm just saying, why go to the store and buy more? You darn well know that what you buy, they already have something like it, and they're not going to use. And no one's going to. I recall, now I know I'm an old guy, and say, oh, here he goes again. My son's like, oh, here he goes again.
Joe,
yeah.
Back in the old days.
My son's going, oh, here he goes again.
Here he goes, Joe.
Is that when the wintertime, the gift was a sweater. Because you didn't have money, and a sweater was expensive. A wool sweater was expensive. You waited for Christmas, and when you got that wool sweater, believe me, you were happy. You prayed that it didn't get cold until you got that sweater. That's a lot different. I don't know what to buy anyone today. Another video game, another piece of crap that's version 3.2, and then when you buy it, 3.6 is out. That's crap.
You could buy a Kindle. Or something.
Oh, yeah, Kindle, yeah.
Well, don't kids hate it when you get them clothes now? Like for Christmas?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Who likes getting clothes?
A lot of kids don't get it.
No, you don't know what the heck to buy. Something that looks finky or funky or crappy, and they go, oh, that's the style. You don't know. And they say, I'm not going to wear that to school.
Lane in here.
Well, they were lucky to have clothes to go to school. They were lucky to walk to school. And another gripe, since we're going to get on school, but I'm going to get off on, I can gripe about schools all day long.
I know where you're going on this one.
Yeah. I live in southeast Tulsa, right? I mean, crime capital of the world. Every little girl and boy has to be driven with an SUV to school.
Or to the school.
Yeah, and they drive. I walked a half a mile through Harlem to go to school. No one cared. My mother said, hey, goodbye, go to school, If you don't come back, I'll know why. Come on. How come I can walk a half mile through Harlem? No, I did. I went Harlem, And the PS 76, and no one asked, say, I wonder if he's going to get mugged. You get mugged, it's your problem, And today, little Johnny and Mary, they all get, the SUVs line up. I can't get to the coffee shop because of these people.
Seriously.
Really pisses me off, Because they have to be driven to school.
And then they wonder why the kids are fat.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's a good
They
point.
don't walk to school, that's part of it.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to end this segment on that happy note. We have 2 more minutes. We have 2 more minutes.
We're not going to end it yet, Joe.
We can't. I ran out of words, I don't know what else to say.
But you were talking about being broke. I think we're intellectually broke as well.
That's
I think
right.
so.
Yeah.
I know people who don't have a dime, but they are valuable and they are worth a fortune, and I have an utmost respect for them. We seem to say, well, what's your net worth in dollars? You can have high net worth in dollars and you can be morally, intellectually, absolutely bankrupt.
Yeah.
And those people. Yeah, those people, all they want to talk about is money, if you bring up, they don't want to know anything new. What they know, whatever they believe, and that's it. Don't confuse them with the facts. Don't confuse them with the facts. And it's a real problem today. It's a real serious problem today. And we were talking about the school system, which I'm going to talk about when we come back from the break. And, 49% of students in high school in major cities do not graduate. And when we come back from the break, I'm going to tell you why that's not all that bad. Okay? Break time. Let's go. Break time. Welcome back to Liberty Talk Radio. I'm your host, Joe Cristiano, also the Chancellor of the University of Logic, better known as Cristiano's Conservatory, correcting convoluted conversation. We have someone on line 1, don't we? Okay, let's take this one. This is Mark. Mark did I hang up on poor Mark?
Call back, Mark.
Is he on now?
You still there, Mark?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Mark, I thought I hung up on you. Mark, welcome to Liberty Talk Radio. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, you was talking about driving the government nuts.
Yes.
And I remember years ago, took business math class, and the teacher said if everybody would go in and file a 1099 with their employers, and then come April 15th forget to write the check, how would they put millions of people in jail if you could get people to get together and do it?
Oh, that's a good
idea. You're right.
And if they don't have the money, other than credit, how are they going to spend it?
That's right. I agree. I couldn't agree more. I saw a documentary, and it showed millions of dots on one end, and there's a couple of dots, I might say millions, but thousands of dots on one end, and just a couple of dots on the other end that said, you're one of the millions of dots, and the government is a couple of dots. Now, who has the advantage? And you see, that's a great lead-in, Mark, because the reason why the millions feel compelled to follow the few is because we've all been brainwashed.
I agree with that.
See, we've all been brainwashed, and you gave me a perfect segue to the second part of this, second half of this show. Mark, for doing that, I'd like to send you a Liberty Talk Radio T-shirt. If you would just send me a mailing address and a T-shirt size to comments@libertytalkradio.com, and a T-shirt size, I will shoot one in the mail for you.
All right, thank you.
Fair enough. Thank you for calling. Mark brings out a good point. But why is it, if most of us are angry with the government, why don't we just say, hey, government, forget about it. It's all over, We got a constitution here. It says if we don't like you guys, take a hike. There's only a few of you. There's hundreds of millions of us. What are you going to do about it? In Harlem, the gang, the Red Wings, they were the big gang, You didn't go up to anybody to smack somebody with the Red Wings because they were big, right? You wouldn't do that. You did that, it was all over. You wouldn't, get out of here, And it's the same thing here, But yet, we acquiesce. Think of it. We acquiesce to all these clowns. And even the most insane legislation, which they shouldn't be legislating in the first place. And then we start agreeing with them. You see, folks, we have all been brainwashed. Everyone out there, including myself, everyone on this planet has been brainwashed. This is the way the governments handle things. They brainwash the citizens. This was deliberate. This brainwashing has been deliberate since 100 years ago. They wanted to make certain that they can steer the people in a certain direction. They wanted to go from having a society of individuals to a socialistic type society.
It's also the capitalist nature. I mean, the business ethics are different than human ethics. Business ethics is just making money. Human ethics is we got to take care of each other, and that's not how a corporation works.
No, right.
So it's not just the government.
Well, a corporation in a free market society actually has to do that. What does that sign say? Hold on a second.
I wrote something down. They control the conversation.
Yeah, they do. They control, right.
I wrote down Constitution, but I wasn't thinking. But they control the conversation. They put out the news bite, and they get people to start talking about it. And even though it doesn't even make sense to have the law in the first place, they create a side against it and a side for it. And so you think you have to eeny, meeny, miny, mo, take a side when the whole thing is corrupt and it shouldn't even be there. Yeah. We shouldn't even have it.
Right. Well, your point about, corporations, that opens up. Maybe we should do a whole program on that. Any business, if they want to survive long term, has to make a profit. And they can only make a profit if they serve the people. Understand that?
It's become a culture.
Yeah. Let's take, oh boy, we have someone here. Which button do I press? The top button?
I've got it on the air.
Oh, you got it on the air. Okay. Jim from Reno, are you on the air?
Hey, Joe, how are you doing tonight?
All righty. Thanks for calling in all the way from Reno, Nevada. I love that. That's
the
great.
Biggest little city.
Jim.
Boy, now, I understand. Is Reno actually west of Los Angeles?
It's actually east of Sacramento, California.
Okay, maybe I was thinking of another town. Okay. What's on your mind this evening? You want to holler at me or what?
That's all right, brother. Anyway, what I've been doing, I'm driving truck. I'm going right now from Phoenix. I just happen to be driving through Tulsa here, heading up to Indiana.
Oh, okay. I thought you were calling from Reno. That's why I was asking.
Oh, no. That's why I wanted to clarify that.
Okay.
But what I've been pushing for, I've been getting on with the local stations. I've been pushing for a total recall vote. Anybody that supported Obamacare, the immigration bill, and this NSA snooping and all the other crap putting on the American people. I just got back from Iraq. I was over there running convoys for 3 years.
Wow.
I can't believe what's going on here today. But then again, America voted in a Muslim, and this don't surprise me. And I'm going to stick with it.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we take everyone who likes our present form of government, the way it's been run, not the original form of government, the constitutional government that we had, and we ship everyone to Afghanistan.
Well, why don't we they're all going to make a big deal out of the boy that just died here, yesterday? Mandela. I think people really need to look at his background before they start applauding and everything. Yeah, he did some good stuff, but he did some real bad stuff, too.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
But what do you think, Jim, what do you think we should do?
I'll tell you what.
Seriously, I mean, I got your point, but what do you think we should do, really, on a practical note,
If I had the power, I would have 100, since most of them ain't working. All of us that came back, we didn't have the ability to claim unemployment or anything. We actually had to go find a job, and I don't know anyone that came back that didn't find a job and it isn't working out here. While we was over there, we heard, couldn't find a job for 3 years, 5 years. That's all crap. You're in Oklahoma. I mean, there's so much work here, and in Texas, I drive all over. They're screaming for people to work, but most of these people got a free handout, and as long as they got a handout, they'll sit at home with their drinking buddies, fishing buddies, and why bother working?
All right, what kind of jobs do you hear are available, Jim?
Oh, man, there's just welders. You can go down the list. Accountants. That's what I do is I put out jobs on the internet.
Oh, okay.
But, I have people that's over in Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan, and they'll ask for help for jobs. And that's what I do is I send them all these job links. If you go to DID, that's Defense Industry Daily, DID.
Yep.
.com. You can check that link out, and there's all kinds of jobs right now. They're screaming for drivers and mining engineers and everything over in Australia, and the big mining company that's in Nevada, they're looking for drivers for over there in South Africa and over in Australia and everything, and they're right here in the U.S.
Well, back in, I hate to say this, back in the old days, if you couldn't find work in New York, you went to California where the job was, or Montana, or wherever it was, or to Texas and oil. Why do you think that there is this high unemployment and this lack of people working in full-time jobs when there are so many jobs open and that are needing for people?
Well, the Obamacare didn't help anything out, and I believe I've been saying for 25 years they was out to destroy the middle class. They've done it.
Yeah,
I don't know why Chris Dodd and Barney Franks is sitting in jail over that bankruptcy they did on the housing industry with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
No, I agree. All those guys, they should all be serving at least 10 life sentences. But my point being is that why aren't people applying for these jobs?
They're lazy. You've got a generation now that listen to the deal yesterday when these fast foods, they want $15 an hour. Well, you know what? They want $15 an hour. They're paying $17 an hour up in Montana.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
But you know what? That's where the money is, and that's where the work is. I got a lot of buddies making $2,000 a week up there.
Well, in fact, I recommended someone for a job up in Alaska. Starting at $55,000 a year. He just shrugged. He just wouldn't go. You know, if I need a job, that's what I would do.
You know, this whole thing with, the people working at McDonald's and making minimum wage is just, can I say, bullshit? Because I'm telling you what, my daughter started right here at a Wendy's, okay, no experience in fast food, and they started her out at $8, and she's up to 11 after a year, and so it's a bunch of crap. The minimum wage is a BS argument in the first place, because only about 5% of the people that are working are doing minimum wage, and they're probably just students.
That's right.
And real people. And those guys up there that he referenced to, the unions and stuff that we want to have a $15 an hour. The people in the city are making $15 an hour working the burger line. So just shut up.
Okay, Jim. Hey, Jim, thanks a lot for calling in. And my regards to everybody in Reno, okay? Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. Okay, now we have Julie. Julie from Colorado. Julie, you're on the line.
Yes, I am.
Julie, are you calling from Colorado, or are you on a truck somewhere? Trucking across are you trucking across the nation, or are you calling from Colorado?
I'm calling from Colorado.
Oh, good for you. What town, may I ask?
I'm from Broomfield, Colorado. It's near Boulder.
Oh, okay. Boulder, beautiful town. Okay. What's on your mind this evening?
I was just thinking, based on what the other guy was talking about, how everyone's all fat and lazy, not trying to get jobs. And that ties back into government things, is that the big corporations have their hands in the pockets of the government, Monsanto and all the big companies like that. They're paying them. And what they're doing is they're making us fat, sick, and lazy. So if we wanted to revolt, we couldn't, because we can't promote.
You're absolutely right.
Julie, you're okay.
Best part so far.
But you're right. Yeah, she's correct, though,
They're genetically modifying us.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Julie, the skirt, and this is where we get really confounded in the brain, is that people say, look at these bad corporations. No, it's the big corporations in with government. The corporations pay the way for the people to run for office. They give them hundreds of thousands of dollars. Then when they get in, they approve legislation that favors the corporation at the expense of the citizen. But, it's the same. This is corporatocracy. That's all. It's a fascism.
And then communist takes that and says, oh, see, the free market system is
That's right, and the free market doesn't work, and I love that.
The free market doesn't work, and that's not free market.
Do you agree with that, Julie?
I do. Well, and they try to make it sound like, well, we're providing you with all these great things. We're making things healthier for you. But really, they're just hiding a lot of the shit that they've been doing, as part of my language. They've been hiding a lot of the stuff that they've been doing. And, they tell you they're doing something good for you, but they're not. They're just keeping us fat, sick, and lazy because we can't revolt that way.
I love it. That's a great title for a book. Huh?
Yeah, that's it. You want to co-author a book with me, Julie?
I would love to.
Hey, Julie, for calling in all the way from Colorado, I want to send you a T-shirt. Can I do that?
Yes.
Yeah. If you could send me an email to comments, plural, comments at libertytalkradio.com with a mailing address and T-shirt size, I'll shoot one out to you, okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for listening to Liberty Talk Radio. You've been great. Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye. Great. Okay, are we ready for another commercial? I can't believe. Okay, folks, don't go away. I know who you are. Don't you dare hang up. I'm a big believer in serendipity. There's a woman, lady that I acquaintance. Her and her husband, we bump into each other once in a while, and a few years ago, where I was mentioning something happened, she said serendipity, and it really just struck me. And I realized that provided that you keep on doing things, you keep on working towards something, and you don't have to be efficient or anything, something happens. I mean, serendipity. When I was forced to go into, and I literally forced to go into talk radio on the internet, and I have a studio at home. From that evolved into being here on 1170 KFAQ, which I really appreciate. I love these guys here. And from that, of course, I have an agent, who's clinically insane, but he's a hell of a nice guy. he decided, he said, let's have a website with you guys. We videotape you, this. I said, okay, and he sent me the bill, and I'll pay him $13 a month for the rest of my life. But from that, I was chosen to be in the movie as a talk show host because I was on the. I mean, my point being is that you got to keep on doing things. And the reason why I mention that is that everyone talks about jobs. They can't find jobs. I never had that problem, and I never applied for a job. I don't want to apply for a job. I was always doing something. And as a result, I always knew people and fell into things. Coming home, in fact, just last night, we were coming home, and we saw a guy with a small portable snow removal machine. A small little thing. And two guys, in fact. And they had this pickup truck, and my wife stopped the car. She was driving. She said, "Would you do our house?" We live right up the block. He said, "Oh, sure." He said, "I do a lot of work in this area. I do gardening, and I do landscaping and snow removal." "Sure." He said, "I know your house. Yeah, I meant to stop over and stop to see you guys." She says, "Well, how much would you charge to remove all the snow from our driveway? I'll move the cars." He said, $25. Man, what a deal that was, because there was snow ice piled all over the place. And my point being is serendipity showed up. That happened to be my wife and I, right? And then when he got there, my wife says, "Well, what about doing the walkway around the house and this place and that?" He wound up cleaning up the whole place for $50. Now, it's a lot of money, $50. But what it would have taken me at my age to do, I probably would have died doing it, it was well worth it. My point is that he's there. There is work out there. And the way he got this customer, being us, is just being there, doing something. That's my point. No one's doing anything anymore. We need to get out there and do something. I don't care what it is. Eventually, serendipity will show up and say, "By the way," and when they say, "By the way," you know you've nailed it. So there are jobs out there. And it's not jobs, it's work. There is work out there. And you don't have to apply for a large corporation, sit home, and wait to see if your application has been approved. I never fill out an application. I don't want to fill out an application. I don't care about applications. I don't want to work for this stupid company. I want to do something. I want to produce something. I want to create something. And that's the way it works. And that's where serendipity comes in. Don't put your name in and say, "Well, I can't find the job, so I guess I'll have to apply for McDonald's, make $7.25 an hour, and then I can go on strike and tell them they're not paying me." Oh, garbage, shut up. All you people just shut up. I can't stand you anymore. I can't stand the language. I can't stand the storyline that I hear. "Well, they don't pay a living wage." Well, then get a job that pays them the living wage. Get a job that pays a living wage. Why don't you do that? "Well, I can't because I don't have any skills and I don't work very well and I'm a drunk." Well, that's a good reason. You're lucky to get $7.25 an hour, you bum. I mean, you could imagine you get a job with a company and you say, "Hey, we pay $7.25 an hour." "Okay, I'll take it." And then as soon as you get the job, you go, "I'm going on strike. I only pay $7.25 an hour." Well, what about $7.25 did you not understand when you took the job in the first place? Unbelievable. I mean, these people, they should all go in a shredder. They're just so stupid, they shouldn't be part of this country. Transfer them someplace else. They got to pay me a living wage. Well, what if you had 9 kids? We're going to pay you $75 an hour? For empty boxes of peas and corn? I mean, it's so stupid. And what bothers me is this stupid system that we have of all these news broadcasts. They talk about it as if it's an intelligent conversation. "Well, Walmart's only paying $7.25 an hour, and we're going to interview." You idiot, why even talk about it? Why don't you get out there and say, "Hey, numbnuts, Did you apply for this job at $7.25 an hour? Yeah, I sure did. Well, did you accept the job at $75 an hour? Yeah, I sure did. Then what the hell are you going on strike for? I really don't know. Of course, my friend Bobby told me to do it with him. You know, we're having a lot of fun out here, you know, to give us free lemonade. You know, that's how stupid it is. And yet the American public and the American is so stupid, so incredibly stupid, they sit by the television, brainwashed, listening to this crap, and then when they go to coffee with their friends and have their $4.75 latte, they go, you know, Walmart only pays $7.25 an hour. They should pay a living wage. Well, let me tell you something. Walmart should start everyone at $35 an hour. How about that? I want 30. Not as 15. You weenie. You got 3 kids at home. You got 3 kids at home, and you took a job at $15 an hour. You're a weenie. You need $35 an hour, and you still won't make it. Because you got all that stupid Christmas shopping and crap to buy. And you owe $15,000 on your credit card. How are you going to do that at $15 an hour? It's unbelievable. I can't believe, you know, this is not the United States of America. This is Stupidville. I'm not an American. I'm not. I'm a Zorgite. I'm going back to Zorg. I'm building my own rocket ship. And I'm going back to Zorg. Now, you know what Zorg is? Zorg is like this country. Thank you. I got a bunch of clowns here. Give me I get no respect. No respect at all. I tell you, I get no respect from anybody. You know, hey, you kidding me? You know, I came to the studio the other day. I tell you, this is how bad it is. I came to the studio the other day. The production manager calls me. I said, what do you want? He said, you're fired. I said, I'm fired? What for? He says, because you underperform. I said the price. And now you sound like my wife. I get respect from nobody. No, but my point is this. No, my point is this. Is that I'm going back to Zorg, folks. I'm not. Hopefully, I'll be back next week. Are we over with this program?
Just about. You got about 45 seconds. 45
seconds. Okay. Well, anybody who wants to go to Zorg with me, send me an email to comments at Liberty Talk Radio. We're going to have a sign-up sheet. We're going to build a rocket ship, and we're all getting off this crazy planet, you know? And on Zorg, there ain't no Walmarts, okay? All right. And with that, I'd like to thank everybody. This is the end of today's broadcast. We'd like to thank our sponsors for their financial support, and we'd like to thank you for listening in. Folks, you can further the cause of liberty by recommending this program to your friends and let us hear from you. Our email address is comments at libertytalkradio.com. Thank you for listening, and stay well, stay tuned.